IT needs.
Broadcasting live from Houston, from the space city to the world. You are watching NowMedia Television.
What should you do in a case of an active shooter or a mass shooting? Do you have those survival skills, a survival mindset? Stick around. We're going to be talking about active shooter, how to identify one, what to do in a case that you're faced with one. And of course, let's talk about survival. We're going to have Stephen Daniels here with us with the Houston Police Department. And also, we're going to be talking about National Night Out. It's coming up October 4th. You want to know more information? Do you want to organize an event? Stick around here. This is Community Shield of the Houston Police Department, your friend, Officer Jesus Robles.
HPD is working constantly to protect their citizens by not only patrolling the streets, but also through educational programs and community building initiatives. On this channel, we'll keep you informed about those efforts as well as share ways in which you can help us prevent crime.
All right, welcome to Community Shield, a program brought to you by the Houston Police Department. My name again is Officer Jesus Robles, and I represent the Office of Community Affairs, and we cover all kinds of good stuff here, a lot of crime prevention tips. We do go over some of the news that's been happening here in the city, not to cover the news because we're not a news station or nothing like that, but we cover it so we can pick up some things that we can learn from the things that happen here in the city. Of course, again, we're going to be having today Mr. Stephen Daniels, the Houston Police Department. He's one of our specialists. He's the one that goes out and does the active shooter presentations. What do we do? How do we react? It's the surviving mindset. We need to have that, and we're going to be diving into that in just a few minutes. Now, let's get on to this. A Houston area woman was arrested after she left her child alone in an unlocked car at night. Deputies responded to a call about two young children left in a car outside the grocery store in the northeast Houston area. When they arrived, they found a car unlocked, and of course the vehicle was running with the children inside, and they were still in their car seats. Deputies identified Avante Johnson as the mother who exited the vehicle after they reviewed the security cameras, and the two children had been left unattended for about 30 minutes. By the time the deputies arrived, she was still in the store. The Child Protective Services did come in, and of course they gave the permission to the grandmother to take the children. Now Johnson was charged with child endangerment, and she was taken to Harris County Jail. This serves again as a reminder that you never leave your children inside a vehicle, no matter what it looks like outside, the temperature. Of course, this was a very hot day. We're talking about 103 degrees. No, even if the AC can fail, and leaving a vehicle on can lead to so many problems, somebody jumping in the car and stealing it. So let's not do that, and don't get yourself in trouble. Now, also a different woman, a 31-year-old female, Kiandra Ahmad, is also charged with endangerment of a child and cruelty to a non-livestock animal. She left a 2-year-old child and a puppy inside a locked vehicle over there by the Coquandale area. Now, in this case, the toddler was rushed to the hospital after she was found shaking, red in the face, and of course sweating heavily and dehydrated. Now, the puppy was in good condition. A good Samaritan at the scene was able to take the puppy. Ahmad, who was identified as the child's godmother, was arrested for this incident. Of course, this also reminds us of a 72-year-old female that was found dead in her vehicle outside her home. Apparently, she had left her car on and she took a nap, but she would try to remain cool inside. And then again, the vehicle, it was a malfunction. Something happened, and she was there in the vehicle while it was hot. They found her there. if you need a shelter, you need a place to go to keep yourself cool. We understand there's so many people out there that don't have air conditioners. Please call 311. 311, ask for a cooling center, and they will give you the many facilities around the city that have these cooling facilities at 311. Now, one more. A 5-year-old girl has drowned in her family's pool in Hitchcock. Now, Hitchcock police say that the girl was suffering from autism, and she wandered from her family's home on West Bayou Road. The girl's father, who was at home with her, called 911 after he found her floating in the pool. Officers arrived to the scene and, of course, performed CPR. She was taken by ambulance to the Houston Healthcare Mainland Center Hospital, where she was pronounced dead. Hitchcock Police Chief Wilman Smith says that the father was watching her, but stepped away for a few minutes and then came back. He couldn't find her and realized that she was now in the pool, floating. Again, it's an accident. It's a terrible, terrible accident to lose a child this way. Again, please pay attention to your kids when you're around the water, when you're around pool areas. So many people are going out having fun. It's hot out there. But again, let's really, really remain vigilant. This is a silent killer. It's not like the movies. You're not going to hear the splashing. You're not going to hear any of that. You're just not going to see the child breathing. So again, please pay attention. Now, let's go immediately with Mr. Stephen Daniels. He's part of our community outreach team. He's a specialist, and he does a whole lot of work with active shooter. Stephen Daniels is here with us. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, fine. Good morning.
Welcome to Community Shield.
Thank you.
All right. So you do these active shooter presentations all over the city, sir. What made you get into this field of presentations of active shooter and all that?
I stumbled into it. That's the reality. Okay. Yes. About 10 years ago, another role that I play is I'm the liaison to the Jewish community. And I was at one of their events where that they had one of our SWAT officers, and he was giving a talk on how to survive an active shooter.
Okay.
And for some reason, this just really clicked with me. Long story short, I got permission to work as his assistant.
Wow.
Because he was so busy with SWAT responsibilities, he really didn't have time to schedule and book these things. So I took up that role. But little did I know, by October, Sergeant Lee Lawrence was giving up on this program, and he was going to this place, Afghanistan.
Okay.
You know, he wanted to take a long vacation, I guess.
Okay,
you know.
all right.
Anyway, Lee's was in the Army Reserve, and he was going back for his second tour over in the Mideast. And so I went to the supervisors. I said, look, you got to give me somebody else. And they said, after talking between Lieutenant Besselman at SWAT and my deputy director, they said, Stephen, you're going to do it.
Wow, okay.
So, you know, here we are 10 years later. I've done about 1,865 trainings to date. But it wouldn't be anything without superior support by Lieutenant Besselman.
Sure.
I tell you, he is the consummate professional on active shooting, and he is constantly there. I'll come up with a new idea, because I do change my format and my training sometimes daily.
Okay.
But whenever I come up with a new idea, I'll call him up and I'll say, hey, what do you think of this? He'll be real candid. He'll say, hey, that's a good idea.
Sure.
Or you'll get yourself killed. So, which, you know, that's what this is real life and death stuff. This is not something politically correct, okay? Yes. I've never been really known for that. This is, what do you do if you're in life and somebody comes in and they want to kill you and everybody else around you?
That's right. Okay. So again, so you were at the right place at the right time. You
exactly.
were given this position, and you became the best of it. And you always ask for the experts in SWAT and everybody to kind of chime into your presentation. Over 1,000. How many presentations?
1,865 or so.
Again, that's
but who's
an amazing
counting?
Yeah, who's counting?
Yeah.
When did you notice these active shooter presentations kind of ramp up? Because there was a moment, and I was able to see one of your videos, and there was a trend happening all over the world.
There was a time before COVID that I actually had roughly 150 of these scheduled on my calendar to do. Obviously, with COVID, it went to zero for a couple of years. And now we're building back up. And right now, I have about 77 or so.
Okay.
So it's climbing back up.
All right, so again, we're going to be giving information out on how to get in touch with Stephen Daniel, so he can probably schedule you in and do a presentation for a large group, your community center, or whatever. Now, let's start with this. You go out there and you preach survival, the mindset, a survival mindset.
Right.
Run, hide, fight, a concept that's been used.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit about what is a mass shooting, or what is an active shooter?
Well, an active shooter is a mentally troubled individual that feels compelled to make his mark in life. And in their thinking, the way to do that is by sensationalism, killing a mass number of people, like we saw just recently, unfortunately, up in Highland Park, Michigan, on the 4th of July. They want that notoriety. And sometimes that notoriety may be concluded with their intentional death, or it may not. It depends on the shooter. It can go either way, to be real honest. But they're wanting, it's that sensational. They want to be known from their picture in the news from the West Coast to the East Coast and everywhere. They want everybody to know who they are. That is their idea. That is their self-gratification.
And I've seen in the culture of presenters, of active shooters, of the people like you that go out and teach, you guys don't like to highlight those names for the same reasons, I hear.
No, I mean, that's what they want. They want their name out there, and I generally will not use the name of the shooter because I'm not going to give them any glory. They do not deserve it.
Now, who can be a victim of somebody that's looking for this glory, these active shooters?
Anybody.
Okay.
You know, really, and that's real. You have to understand, these shooters, it's almost a video game to them. And what are they trying to do? Well, they're trying to beat the all-time high score, which happens to be the Bataclan Theater in Paris, France, where in one night a shooter killed in excess of 100 individuals. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to beat that all-time high score. So candidly, they get a point in their mind, whether it's a 3-month-old baby or a 97-year-old lady, it makes no difference. So they just want to kill as many human beings as possible. Now, sometimes we have shooters go into situations, i.e. night transportation, right out here in Katy, Texas. A couple years ago, we had a gentleman who got terminated, came back the next day, walked right past all his fellow employees that he'd been working with for a while, goes straight to the HR manager, shoots and kills HR, then takes his own life. That is not an active shooter. Because a true active shooter will never pass up a living, breathing human being, because keep in mind, it's a point in this game.
Sure. And it does seem like it's a video game, because they lose all kinds of...
they lose perspective of what life really is.
Now, we were talking about these, where are these events happening? Is any place exempt from an active shooter?
Not really. We haven't had too many here at police headquarters, so I guess we're kind of maybe we're. But I wouldn't put it past it. I mean, we have had issues in this very lobby, I understand, years ago. So anyway, folks, within your own home, you're reasonably safe. Okay, from this type of threat. There's other threats, but from this, in your own home. But once you step out the door, it could happen anywhere. I mean, you could be stopped at a street light, and this idiot decides to get out in the middle of the intersection and start shooting away at everybody that stopped there. I mean, it could be at church. It could be at the mall. It could be at the hospital. It could be virtually anywhere in our society that we go.
Are these mostly happening in schools, or they're happening more in other public spaces like malls and stores?
They're happening all over the place. I mean, unfortunately, we pay more attention to the schools, like, unfortunately, the debacle in Uvalde. But, yeah, schools tend to be a center because that's a place that a lot of these young shooters, they're familiar with their schools.
And talking about that familiar word, are these active shooters people that are just they're just absent from that community, or are they people that actually grow in that community?
Both ways. I mean, we've seen like Sandy Hook.
Sure.
That young man grew up right there in that part of the country. In fact, his house was very close, as I understand, to the scene of the school where he did the shooting. So, and in some cases, like we saw in Buffalo here recently, I think that young man traveled a little distance, not a great deal, but he was within, I'm guessing, maybe 30 miles of where he went to the mall. But that shooting had a different connotation to it that we usually don't see, and it had a racial connotation.
Sure.
He was a white man, and he was bound on killing as many black individuals as he could. So he went to a part of town that was predominantly black and did his terrible deeds.
Now, in the situation from Uvalde, he was also from town, so a lot of these individuals do have a connection. Talking about these individuals, who can be an active shooter?
Pretty much anyone. I mean, we've got, let's see, I believe it was in 2021, age range was 12 years old to 67. So anywhere in there. And I mean, generally it tends to be males. Like in 2021, I want to say we had like 61 true active shooting events, and only one of the shooters was a female.
Sure.
So predominantly, this is a male arena.
Now, one of the things that you go out and you do emphasize, getting into the active shooter arena now, action beats reaction. These presentations that you do, these workshops that you do, one of the things you emphasize is about getting into the mindset of surviving.
Absolutely.
A few seconds can mean all. Can you expand on that few seconds? What can happen in a few seconds?
You can die in a few seconds. I mean, this is it. You want to have your predetermined survival mindset locked in up here, because that makes all the difference. In a crisis like this, people are going to be panicking. But if you have done the visualization exercises that I suggest for the different venues at work, at church, at the mall, all the different places you go on a regular basis in your life, if you will sit down and visualize being in those locations and a gunman coming in and using the run, hide, fight tactics and techniques, if it's 2.5 or 6 years from now and it happens, odds are your brain is going to kick in and you're going to remember and you're going to make intelligent decisions. And everybody else around you is going to be in sheer panic, but they're going to look at you and they will be able to tell, hey, they know something I don't know.
Sure.
And they're leading the way. And before you know it, you're going to have people following your lead, and that's a good thing. And I tell people, hey, if you can get folks to follow you to safety, that is great. But for that individual that's frozen with fear, they cannot move, they're terrified.
Sure.
You tell them one time, hey, come on, follow me. As you're running out, you do not stop and try to persuade them to go to safety. If you do, you likely are going to get killed. That's not going to help this person. It definitely will not help you. So get that survival mindset, get up, get out. People will follow your lead, I'm telling you.
It's very important what he just said about taking the lead in these situations. There was a study done where there was a homeless man or somebody that was on the floor, thrown, just prone out. And people would just be walking by. This was a business center. And people would walk by for 20, 30 minutes. No one said anything about this guy that looked like he was passed away on the floor until one person knelt down and began to try to get involved. At that point, many people started to stop by, and some people got on the phone, called 911. Another person was checking vitals. Another person was... It takes that one person to initiate and get everybody else going. So you be that catalyzer. You be that one that won't... Now, you hear a bang, boom. Do you sit around in that office space or in that meeting and think about, what could that be? Or is it wise to do something more?
Any loud sound is a gunshot until proven otherwise. If you were wrong, so what? If you're right, that may give you the necessary 2 or 3 seconds to get up, and that 2 or 3 seconds literally could mean whether you live or die. It is that fundamental, folks.
Having a survival mindset. Now, I want you to dive into the story for Christina Anderson. She was one of the 11 students that was in that school, the first classroom that got shot up by this suspect. She was playing dead. She thought that was the best way to survive. Is that something good to do, play dead? Can you expand into this story, please?
It can be a good thing. You never know. My instinct is if I can get up and get out anyway, I would rather get up and get out and take my chances doing it. But certainly there have been active shooting events where people have done exactly that. They have laid down, they've played dead. In some cases, I know actually mothers have laid on top of children to protect the children. You just have to decide each situation. But again, if you have visualized this, you've created those various survival mindsets in your head for the different places you go on a regular basis, you're going to be in a much more positive position to make the best decision possible.
So let's check out this video. Christina Anderson, she gives her testimony.
This is pretty important. This day, I ended up sitting in exactly the same seat I always did, in the back right-hand corner on the right side of the class. What we don't know is at this time, someone is downstairs, and he's chaining all 3 doors shut. There's supposed to be desks there. Oh, you guys can see. We heard the first gunshots outside in the hallway, and my teacher, she opened the door. She immediately slammed it, and she said, "Call 911." And the second that door closed, he walks in. He walks in shooting. There's absolutely no time. He goes to the other side of the classroom by the windows. He's holding 2 guns. He doesn't say anything. He just starts going down the rows of people. It's very quick. It's very loud. It's very scary. We had these very shitty desks. I get on the floor. I put my knees under the chair, my stomach on the seat, hands overhead, eyes are closed. As the shots keep going, and it's, like I said, very loud, I can tell it's getting closer and closer. And I'm telling myself, brace yourself, your turn is going to come. Now, I didn't know what that meant. Like, I didn't think I was going to get shot, but I knew that something really serious was going on. And I knew, for whatever reason, that I should just play dead. He shoots me. The first time's in the back. And you'd be surprised, getting shot doesn't hurt that much because shock overtakes you. But it starts to, like, burn and really kind of seep in, and that's when it gets really uncomfortable. It's not pleasant. He leaves the first time. He goes across the hall, and while he's gone, cell phones are ringing. People are coughing, and the smell of gunpowder has, like, completely filled the room. Gunpowder is like this really sticky, pungent, warm smell, and it just makes you very, very thirsty. He comes back. Now, this time, the shooting is more intermittent. It's slower because he's looking to see who's alive. I remember telling myself to stop breathing because I can feel my stomach hitting that chair, and I'm saying, stop, like, he can see that you're alive. The third and final time, he killed himself in front of our classroom. When the police broke in, the first thing the guy said was, "We have a lot of blacks in here." I didn't know what that meant, but when police sweep a crime scene, they have 30 seconds. If you're red, you're critically injured. If you're yellow, you'll live. Black means you're dead. In 9 minutes, he killed 11 of my classmates and my teacher. 32 people lost their lives that day.
Such an amazing story. Can you expand on the ostrich or the lizard mindset when we go through these moments of chaos and just utter chaos?
Expand on that just a little bit more.
The ostrich, he sees something and he stops.
Well, it's normal for a lot of people when they're embraced with something that is so different than their normal way of life that they just get locked in on these situations. So, no, excuse me.
Sure. He's getting phone calls right now, probably getting booked for
Okay.
for another event.
Yes. which is maybe a good lead in. If you would like this training for your church, your business, your barbecue group, I don't care.
Sure.
You know, if you can get 10 people together at your home and you got a flat screen TV, give me a call. Now, I'll be honest with you, we're looking probably November. I've got quite a few on the calendar right now, but this training is absolutely free, courtesy of your Houston Police Department.
That's right.
So you can give me a call, and we're going to put the numbers up, I think, a little later,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Give me a call, and we'll get your group scheduled. Again, the more people we educate, the more lives we save. And which leads me right into what is the best part of my job is when I look at those statistics and I see the number 5. Because to date, in 10 years, I've got 5 individuals that have come back and said, Mr. Daniel, what you taught me saved my life when they started killing people all around me. Most recently, a lady attorney from Houston was out in Las Vegas at that terrible shooting. So the reality is, this stuff works in real life. Sure. And the more people we can educate, it just is logic, the more lives we're going to save.
Run, hide, fight. Run, hide, fight. We're going to expand into those themes in a little bit more. Now, what's the best defense for an active shooter?
It depends on each situation. You know, again, if you can get away, hey, that's a defense. Get up, get out, however you can. Now, let's talk about how you might run. Okay, if you're on the ground floor of a building, you're sitting at your desk working, and all of a sudden you hear shots, you get up, you look down the hallway, here's some guy down there shooting, dropping people, blood is just everywhere, and you go, when he looks that way, I'm going the opposite way. My question is, and this is where having a survival mindset with intelligent responses makes a difference. My question is, why would you go out into that hall and expose yourself? If he spins around the opposite direction, you don't have a chance. So my suggestion is, if you've thought through this, what you will do is get up and go to the window, open the window, and go out to safety. Now, if the window doesn't open, hopefully it's a window that you can break out and you can go to safety. Now, if you're on the second floor of the building, hey, open the window, go out, or break the window and go out. And look, you know, you younger guys, you're probably going to bounce right back, get up, and walk away. Some of us more experienced folks like myself, okay, we got a few years on us. We're probably going to twist the leg. We're going to probably get a little rehab for a couple of months going here. But let me tell you, that is so much better than getting shot through the head with that AK-47 this lunatic has. So you got to keep that in mind. But if you're on the third floor or higher, it's a different ball game, folks. You're not going to go diving out the windows. That's not smart. And you're not going to get on the elevator. If the door is open and you're on the elevator, you have no chance at all. Now, understand, the fire department.
Sure.
They love their concrete fireproof stairwells.
Yes, they do.
But let me tell you, for an active shooter, it's nothing more than a vertical shooting gallery with the added benefit that if he misses, the ricochet off those concrete walls may kill you. So, again, stay out of the stairwell. So what does that leave? You have to know all the hideouts. File rooms, copy rooms, restrooms, whatever the case may be. So if you're on the third floor or higher of a building, you need to really think about this. What are my options? Where could I go? What safe haven could I take advantage of?
Now, some common characteristics of an active shooter. There was an FBI study. Some information was given out about some of the phases that these active shooters go through.
Well, there's actually 5 different phases.
Okay.
Things that they step through. You know, number 1, they visualize themselves being this big authoritarian figure, this person in control, how grandiose, how great they're going to be. It's this troubled thinking that they do. And then they may prepare for this and buy the G.I. Joe garb, all that stuff.
Yeah.
They want to look strong and macho.
Tactical uniforms.
Tactical uniforms. Yeah. But if you remember, one of the earlier shootings, not the earliest, but one of the earlier shootings was Columbine.
Sure.
What did those young men do up there in Colorado? It was the long black cowboy dusters down to mid-calf. They were the rough, tough buckaroos. That was their thing. So this is the way they have to get into character, so to speak.
Sure.
You know, and then they'll go out and they'll practice again. Columbine, they target practice with their buddies videotaping it. And then, of course, the last thing is they go out and they kill all these people. So those are the progressive steps. But here's the good thing. During this time, obviously, these are not spontaneous events. They take place over a period of time from the beginning to the end. During that time, they just cannot help but put off certain signals, certain red flags, certain suicidal indicators. And if you have had this training and you know what to watch out for, odds are you can do what? You can cause some type of intervention. And how would you do that? Well, there's several ways that if you have this training that we put out, you'll pick up on those things. But there is opportunity to intervene, and intervention means we can get out there and help this troubled individual and save countless lives that they would have taken otherwise.
That's of course the best defense of an active shooter, that make sure that it never happens, and we have to be aware of these signals that are coming out so that we can prevent this from happening. Now, when shots are fired, let's go into the process of the run, hide, and fight. Shots are fired, bang, 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 bang. We don't as a civilian, you don't run towards the firing, you run the other way.
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell me, when is it best to run? When would it be best to hide? And when would it be best to fight?
If you see the shooter coming your way, you just have to look at the situation. You know, are you in the mall? Or you have a lot of... If you're in a mall where you have a lot of room, running may be your best option. If you're in tight quarters, just diving into a room and shutting the door and locking the door, that might be your best option. Or if you come around the corner and he's right there, you're face to face, you're going hands-on with this guy, okay? And so what I suggest is, if you're, say, at the office and you hear shots, the first thing you want to do, grab that pair of scissors or letter opener that you have on your desk. Take that with you just in case running doesn't work, hiding fizzles out. You have to go hands-on, face-to-face. At least you have that weapon to use, okay? So that's what we want to do. But if we want to take the least difficult, and obviously running away, that's the easiest. Hiding, that's a little more scary.
Sure.
And going face-to-face with this guy, that is terrifying.
Yeah, and this is where we dive into knowing the territory that you're in. Don't go anywhere. Stick with us here. We're going to come back with awareness. Whenever you visit any place, let's talk about awareness and the things that you can do as something that you can keep as a discipline whenever you go anywhere here in Community Shield with the Houston Police Department.
Good afternoon. My name is Sam Peña. I'm the fire chief for the city of Houston. I just want to remind everyone, as the summer kicks in and we look for ways to cool off from this heat, and we take our kids to the pools, that there are some safety considerations for you to keep in mind. It doesn't take much for a tragedy to occur. The drownings are quick and deadly. In 20 to 30 seconds, a tragedy can strike. So please be cautious of that. Be mindful that we need to keep an eye on our kids, whether it's in a pool, whether it's in a bathtub, in a sink. Tragedy can strike at any moment. So again, we want to have a nice, relaxing, and enjoyable summer, but also a safe summer. In addition to that, the number of fires has gone up. With this drought, with this lack of rain, we're seeing a number of fires, especially in the homes. And we want to remind you that the Houston Fire Department has a smoke detector program. The smoke detector provides early warning, and it helps in alerting people that there is danger, that there is something going on in the house, and so they can make an escape. So I want to remind you that if you need a smoke detector, that you can call the Houston Fire Department at 832-394-6633, or go to our website and request a smoke detector. Our firefighters will schedule something to go out and install one of these to you. So have a safe summer.
The survival mindset, being aware of your surroundings, is key to surviving an active shooter. Anytime you go anywhere, you can go to the blue store, you can can go to the other store, you can go to the mall, you're going to the school. Do you pay attention to where the exit signs are? Stephen, there's also a video out there where it was a nightclub. There was a fire that started in the stage area. There was hundreds of people in this place. They all rushed to the main entrance of this business. You have about 1,000 people trying to exit on the front door. The smoke just completely engulfed the place, the flames. So people were trampling on each other because everybody was exiting through the same exit, not knowing that there was about 5 more exits with double doors in these establishments. How important is it as one of our first things to do wherever we go to be aware of where your exits are at in case something does happen, like simple fire?
Absolutely. I mean, during a time of panic, it's not the time to figure this out. Let's say you're at the rodeo. You've just got to your seat. Look around, figure out, hey, if something goes down, what are my options? Which ways can I go? And in that moment, you may have to make that critical decision, but if you've already thought, oh, I can go down this service corridor here, or I have an option of going out this door here and it takes me to the stairs outside, know what your options are. In a time of panic, you're not going to think clearly. You want to have these things already up here in your head. And this becomes a way of life. And I'll be real candid. There are some folks, they will never get it.
Sure.
You know, and I hate to say it, and I'm not going to call names, but I got people I know, they're never going to think like that.
Sure.
As much as I encourage them to do that, they will not think like that. But most of us do have the ability to program ourselves to think this way. When I go somewhere, I mean, it's like when we cross this intersection out here, do you actually look both ways before? We were taught that as little children in school.
Right.
You look both ways before you cross the street. But what do you see in downtown Houston? You see people crossing the street doing this. They have no idea if a semi is about to run the light and run them down.
Just saw one yesterday. It was a full family. It was a complete family walking across this walkway. They assume that because there's a walkway, you're usually going to walk and the person's going to yield. But this vehicle was moving at a distance. They never turned to look at the vehicle that had stopped all of a sudden. Not even, no. We need to be aware. Awareness is our first line of defense whenever we visit anywhere. Know where your exit signs are at so you know which way to go. Not every exit is going to be through the front door. It could be through the back side of Walmart. It could be through the employee exit through the back. It could be through the... Choose other places. Now, run, hide, and fight. Let's paint this picture with this video that the Houston Police Department prepared a couple of years ago. It's a little dated, but the information is still good. Check this out.
It may feel like just another day at the office, but occasionally, life feels more like an action movie than reality. The authorities are working hard to protect you and to protect our public spaces. But sometimes bad people do bad things. Their motivations are different. The warning signs may vary, but the devastating effects are the same. And unfortunately, you need to be prepared for the worst. If you were ever to find yourself in the middle of an active shooter event, your survival may depend on whether or not you have a plan. The plan doesn't have to be complicated. There are 3 things you could do that make a difference. Run, hide, fight. First and foremost, if you can get out, do. Always try and escape or evacuate, even when others insist on staying. Encourage others to leave with you, but don't let them slow you down with indecision. Remember what's important. You, not your stuff. Leave your belongings behind and try to find a way to get out safely. Trying to get yourself out of harm's way needs to be your #1 priority. Once you are out of the line of fire, try to prevent others from walking into the danger zone and call 911. If you can't get out safely, you need to find a place to hide. Act quickly and quietly. Try to secure your hiding place the best you can. Turn out lights, and if possible, remember to lock doors. Silence your ringer and vibration mode on your cell phone. And if you can't find a safe room or closet, try to conceal yourself behind large objects that may protect you. Do your best to remain quiet and calm. As a last resort, if your life is at risk, whether you are alone or working together as a group, fight. Act with aggression. Improvise weapons. Disarm him. And commit to taking the shooter down, no matter what. Try to be aware of your environment. Always have an exit plan. Know that in an incident like this, victims are generally chosen randomly. The event is unpredictable and may evolve quickly. The first responders on the scene are not there to evacuate or tend to the injured. They are well trained and are there to stop the shooter. Your actions can make a difference for your safety and survival. Be aware and be prepared. And if you find yourself facing an active shooter, there are 3 key things you need to remember to survive. Run, hide, fight.
Run, hide, fight. We saw some of the images here. Running, always run away from the firing. Always run away from the threat. Don't, if you don't have to face it, that's the best thing to do.
Absolutely.
Now, hiding. The person is right outside your door now.
Here's the thing. If you can get within a room and get the door secured, you can lock it, you can barricade it, jam it with a wedge, tie a cord around the opener up at the top, whatever. Based on experience, you pretty well have it made. But stand to the side of the door, because these shooters, they will shoot through that door out of frustration, but they will not generally take the time to sit there and focus on the lock and keep shooting till they can kick it in. And why do they not do that? They're smart. They know that on average, they got about 6 minutes before law enforcement comes in there and puts a stop to it. So they're not going to waste time, but out of frustration, like I said, they'll shoot through the door. So you want to make sure you stand clear of the door. But if you get that door secured somehow, odds are you pretty well have it made.
If you're at a school, if you're at use a desk, throw it against that wall, and then turn off the lights. Stay away from any place that he can see you. These people, they're not going to sit there and search you. There's many other targets out there that they're going to go after because they're going to be easier. But you don't be that target. Have the mindset, if you're going to hide, you're going to barricade yourself. You're not going to allow this person to come in, and you're going to stay away from any visibility from this suspect. Now, fight. We saw that fighting scene. We saw them determined. Somebody had some tools in their hands, and they were ready to take on this person.
If your worst case scenario is he gets in the room, hopefully you have a pair of scissors, letter opener, whatever. Now, here's another weapon that works really good that's everywhere around. Fire extinguishers. If you can grab a fire extinguisher and you're standing there and somehow he gets through the door, or maybe he's out in a common area and he's fighting desperately with one of your coworkers, and the coworker is really getting the short end of the stick, but you're rusty on your kung fu, okay? So what do? You get that fire extinguisher, you stand right there, stick that nozzle in his face, and you blast it until it's empty. When he gets up coughing and wheezing, you take the pretty red container and hit him over the head. Fire extinguishers make a really good weapon if you have to get to that point, because you don't really have to grab onto him and get into the fight. So think about fire extinguishers as your weapon that's around. Well, by fire code, they're everywhere, okay?
Run, hide, fight. Now, Stephen Daniels and myself, we're pretty peaceful individuals. We don't go out being angry at the world. But in the moment when it's time to fight, you got to get that face. You got to get that mindset to fight. Either you're going to run, you're going to get out of there, either you're going to hide, or you're going to fight. But you're going to survive, and that's the mindset. You're going to survive. You're going to get angry. You're going to say, today I'm going to be home with my kids. Today I am going home.
Absolutely.
And nobody's going to stop me today.
Again, we keep talking about survival mindset. That is a big part of your survival mindset, is an incredible determination that you are going to walk away from this situation and go about your business, go to your loved ones, and continue your life.
A good video that also is included in the presentation that Mr. Stephen Daniels usually does is Alan Stevie. He has the Last Resort Active Shooter. It's a short video. Check this out. It talks about that fighting mindset, about the survival mindset, and it shows you a couple of things. Again, it's a dated video, but the concepts are still the same.
Basically, what we're dealing with here is a last resort survival measure. The active shooter or the terrorist is on the premises shooting people. How would you know, first of all? Well, it's going to be kind of obvious. Screams, gunfire. You know how to recognize gunfire? I don't know if most of you have ever heard live gunfire. It doesn't sound like in the movies. Very important you learn how to recognize gunfire in a crowded environment. We teach that in the program. We'll distinguish between real gunfire and non-real gunfire. You recognize gunfire, you're hearing screams, perhaps you even see casualties or injured people. You see people running away. You are not able to run away and make it. Why would one not be able to run away and escape? Because you're trapped. Now let's talk about responding to an active shooter and the timeliness of it. How long do you think it will take you, all of you, to get off your chair from where you are right now and make it to me? Right here. If you were running for your life.
Second.
How many seconds? I guarantee you, top 3. But I don't want to guarantee it. I want you to do it. Boom! Very nice job. That was excellent. I knew I could count on UCI for all this. Good stuff. Fantastic. Very nice. Now, once again, would you be prepared to do that? Well, guess what? I think so. You're hearing screaming. You're hearing shouts. You're hearing gunfire. Are you going to know it's coming? It's getting closer and louder. This thing is locked down. Sure you will. You'll be ready. But I'm not proposing that you'll wait sitting in your chairs like that. That will be for a surprise entry to that door that will be totally unexpected. Not going to be the case. I will teach you where to stand and how to position yourself so you have a tactical advantage versus a shooter coming to that door. So, when he comes to that door, he's not going to go and then come in. Okay? He's coming in. He's looking to kill. He's looking for the target. He won't see these two sides. You have a coordinated action coming on him. one of you, at least one of you, if not both of you, are going to be successful at, hey, again, not putting a handcuff on the guy and arresting him or killing him. No. Stopping him from shooting, bringing him to the floor, and containing him on the floor so he can't continue his violence action. Very simple. Okay. Since we're going to use two examples here. One is on this door that has one side only, and then two is that door that has two sides in the event that you have two types of scenarios that come at you. And that's why I use this classroom as well, because there are two kinds of door. Now, what will help you, because obviously not the whole classroom needs to be here. Who is going to make contact? The first two, top, the first two. So two people on each door, on both sides of the door. No, wait, no, yeah, I'm explaining, and then I'll call you. Okay, one. Second. What does everybody else do? Where? No, where would you be? In front of him? You just learned a big lesson. When he comes in, he's looking straight ahead. He's looking straight ahead. So safety says, anybody who doesn't have a role, and many of you shouldn't have a role in this case, get out of the zone. Get out of the kill zone. So go there, in the far corner against the same wall he comes to, or that far corner. Definitely not in front of him. But there's going to be a few of you that are going to be required to do one very important thing that's going to assure the success of those by the door. And that's attracting his vision and attention on them by throwing object and running across the room in the opposite direction, if you can help it, than where the attackers, defenders are going to be positioned at. So if I'm coming here, you don't want me, as the shooter, to turn and look here, right? What you're going to do, you're going to go like that, and throw object running this way. I'm coming this way, bam, that's it. Now how much time do I have, honestly, when I come to that door? 1 second, baby. What? So we're talking, time has now shrunk significantly for the shooter to be able to be shooting effectively. So just practice with me one time the drill. Here, no, come here. One, and then you, right there. Good. What will help you a lot is actually push the knee here. Yeah, because that will collapse a lot easier than my entire body, especially if I'm strong. So just aim for the knee. You see that? That's right. Let's try one time. The knee, yeah. Oh yeah, much better. Nice job. Shots fired in the corridor. Shots fired in the corridor. Nice and safe. Whoa, yes, sir. Right on. So, you okay? Yeah. So, shots fire! Move. Whoa, go! You good, Steve?
Yeah, good.
All right, so what did you shoot at?
What's that?
What did you shoot at?
One shot in the middle. It was one person, one shot.
You did see a person. You managed to see a person.
Well, it was dark, so...
All right. Now, did you notice that?
Yes.
Did that throw you off any?
For sure, because I had to look around it.
Right.
For sure.
Okay.
That took away a potential target area.
Right there.
So my first response was to look for a target other than this.
Other than this. So it took you, what, a second and a half?
For sure. It played into the Yoda.
Of course.
So it delayed me a second or two to look for another target. Maximum one shot, and I don't even know if it was a person.
Right. So we now cut down 2, maybe 3 shots from before with the handgun, with broad daylight, with one side surprise, to maximum 1 shot without knowing if it's even a target. That's a big improvement, right? Big improvement. Okay, one more time. Shots fired. Shots fired.
Nice.
All right. No martial art is involved. This is basic stuff. Football, tackle, wrestling. Overwhelm the target. Overwhelm the threat. This is with a machine gun, guys. If he had a box cutter, do you think he had better chances? I don't think so. Right? You have to do this with a box cutter to make a difference. No way. He wants to do that. No way. He can't even do one, barely one with a gun. Box cutter, no chance. This information is essential. Anybody out there get caught in the mall in a terrorist attack or any type of attack, Anybody get caught in the school? Essential. You know, get organized. 1, 2, get over here. Ready. This is the game. That's the plan. Can you explain what I just taught you today in a shortened version to a bunch of people? Yes, of course you can. That's why I decided to bring this on to universities and schools. Why? Because it's an educational system. That's what we do. We educate. That's a perfect platform to educate the next generation in creating a safer society.
Run, hide, or fight. Be ready for that. Be ready to survive. You're going to survive. You're going to make it out of this. You got to get that in your head. You got to have awareness of wherever you're at. Whenever you go to that store, whenever you go to that mall, whenever you go to that park, you're going to look around and you're going to see, if anything was to happen here, where would I go? Talk to your kids. But you as an adult, especially, just be aware of your surroundings. You got to get that fight mindset. You got to get that survival mindset that you will make it today. You will not be a victim. You will live to tell the story. Survival mindset. Run, hide, or fight if you must. Now, if you want more information on how to get with Mr. Stephen Daniels, our Community Affairs phone line is available at 713-308-3200, 713-308-3200, 713-308-3200.
Give them my direct line, too.
And the direct line is
713-308-3246. That's my desk line. And if I'm not there, leave me a voicemail. I'll get back to you just as quick as I can. But, you know, we're talking about a lot of essential elements of surviving an active shooter right now. But you need the whole picture.
Yeah.
So sign up for the training. Get your church group, your work office, and have the training so that you have the benefit of everything that you need. And then you do the job, and your job, visualize, create your very survival mindset. You will be astounded at what the human brain can do if you train it properly.
You train it. Be aware of your surroundings. Pay attention to the exit doors whenever you go.
This has been a Now Media television feature presentation. All rights reserved.
Are you considering selling more than likely what is the most expensive investment, your home, now or in the near future? Before you throw away precious equity down the drain and live to regret it, I'd like to share with you 5 reasons why you need to stage your space, whether living in it or selling it vacant. Hello, I'm Kat Trelinos, President, Master Staging Professional, and CEO of Tada by Kat Next Level Staging and Design. Number 1, you need to stage because you'll make more money. According to the National Association of Realtors, more than 5 to 20% more staged. Number 2, so buyers can visualize the staged property as their next home. Stage because, number 3, not staging will only help sell your competition stage homes. Successful realtors know that the key to competing is professional staging because it creates great online presentations, drives buyer traffic to the home, and brings the highest offers. Number 4, stage because it makes the home seem larger when strategic placement and flow are created with proper staging. And number 5, stage because then you can relax, knowing you've done everything possible to get a quick sale, not leave any money on the table. Let our award-winning team bring the magic of next-level staging to your property today. Be prepared to be Tarad. You'll be glad you did.
Broadcasting live from Houston, from the space city to the world. You are watching Now Media Television.